Hey everyone, this amazing ESO Network show is brought to you by our fine sponsor, Amazon.com. Please remember to shop Amazon for all your geeky needs, no matter what time of the year it is. All you need to do is go to esopodcast.com/ESO Amazon, or click on the Amazon banner on the ESO Network webpage to go to our e-store. It's the best way to shop and the best way to support this program, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, that's enough of me babbling for now. Now on with your regular scheduled show.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Cornflake.
So we host the Flopcast.
We cover nerd and geek subjects of all types, but this is sort of a sillier, goofier side of geekdom, I'd say.
We love to talk about music, especially funny music.
We talk about comic books, conventions,
Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh yeah. I'd say if you're going to put the Flopcast in Brady Bunch terms, we're like the cousin Oliver of podcasting. And we do a ridiculous new Flopcast episode every week.
What is wrong with us?
We really have nothing else to do. We're part of the Earth Station 1 podcast network.
And you can find us at flopcast.net.
Hello and welcome again to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. I am the host, The Monster, back to give you a different type of podcast that I wanted to do at least since the time of the election results. Now, I've been kind of waiting to do this. I've been letting the impact of the results sink in. I looked through information. I try to see things less emotional, more critical about my feelings and all this. The last podcast, the one in which I was talking about the Walking Dead premiere, I talked a couple of minutes right after that, in which if you did not get out to vote, you didn't have a right to complain if your candidate didn't win. So I voted, and I'm going to complain. So Hillary didn't win. And I'm really dismayed that that did not happen. We have President-elect Trump. Okay. When things like this happen, I try to put things in context in my head, sci-fi context. So I look for blame. So I blamed it on the Flash because of the Flashpoint paradox. Because of him going back and redoing time again. This is what happened. We get President-elect Trump. The other thing that I thought about, there was a scene from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith in which Anakin, Palpatine, and Mace Windu were all together, kind of fighting, and once Mace Windu, who was thrown out the window, Anakin kind of bent down in front of Palpatine. So in my head, I saw this image, and I'm like, Palpatine is Trump, and the Republicans are Anakin taking their place on their knees. Because basically, I see how that's going to happen when he does take office. So, again, I use these kind of sci-fi images or things that I like and put them in this context of the election, you know, or for a perfect example, look at the Back to the Future 2, the alternate 1985 scenario. That timeline, because of little changes that happened in the past, created this alternate 1985. So again, that's what I kind of look at, and that's what I kind of blame on, because honestly, it still does not feel real to me. Now, having said all that, I'm not sure if what I'm feeling is pure hatred for Trump because he won. The type of campaign that he ran, yes, I hate him on that level. But the people that did vote for Trump saw him as a person who understood their pain, understood what it was to be left behind, to be, quote-unquote, the forgotten ones. There was a show on Hulu that's currently on. It was like one guy's from the Shark Tank, and I'm blanking out on his name. But they come into a small town, and the small town needs help. So they go from business to business to help improve that business. And over the course of the show, or the whole series, that town should be revitalized. So when we see the beginning of the show, and it talked about how there used to be a factory here, and the factory is no longer there, but it employed, hundreds of people, and it's up and gone. So you're left with a small town that's trying to struggle to get through its everyday survival. And I get that. But you can say that about the inner cities. You can say that about any situation that we're dealing with. But Trump spoke to those people that had that feeling that the government didn't do anything. So even though we've come out of this recession, that it's second to the Great Depression, Hillary, unfortunately, did not do a better job to connect with those people that felt the government didn't work for them. Hence why Trump got this, not a mandate. He got enough votes through the Electoral College. Now, people have been talking about the Electoral College. For me, I got into politics back when 2000, which George Bush and Gore were running for president. And of course, being Florida, and the whole debacle with the hanging chads, it was quite a mess. But I looked towards this one woman named, oh my god, I'm blanking out on her name. Randy Rhodes! How could I forget Randy Rhodes? So Randy Rhodes, I would listen to her commentary, and really I started to get a better understanding of elections and politics, and I really got into what she was talking about. So, because of the popular vote is not counted as the winner of being the president, is the Electoral College. So, what does that all mean? Well, in order for us to come to some kind of compromise, because if we left things to the majority rules, that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not a pure democratic process. What if you had, a room full of zombies and a handful of people that are still alive? Well, the majority is the zombies would be, running the world, not the minority. But in the Electoral College, I know the metaphors don't work here, but the thing is, this was a compromise that Congress had to come up with. So the reason why we have X amount of electoral votes in a state depends on a couple of factors. Each of the 50 states gets 2 electors from the Senate, 1 for each, because each state gets 2 senators. Now, the House of Representatives, depending on how populated your state is, would vary. So with Florida, where I am, we have 29. So that means 27 are from the House of Representatives, 2 are from the Senate. Except for 2 states, which again I'm blanking out on, it's a winner-take-all. So you need to win the state and you get all the electoral votes. Whereas the 2 states, they would split the difference. So my next step in thinking about this considering how crazy this whole election process has happened, there is still a possibility of another change in history. And what I mean by that is that we still have to send those people that we've elected to cast our votes, the electors for the electoral college, have to represent the state and cast their votes. But it's not 100% slam dunk that they have to run or vote for the person who won that state, which means we may not have Trump, even though he is president-elect, as the president. We could have Hillary in place. As much as I would love to see that happen, I don't want to see that happen. For the sake of this country, the fact that we've been going through this every 4 years, so this kind of divisiveness, every 4 years we have problems. And it brings out this ugly side of all of us, in which you're red or blue, and very little in between that we have in common. But yet, once we go through this process, we forget it, and then we start it all over again. So, we are basically two nations, and it's always going to be that way. And I'm not sure if there will ever be a day in which we're going to get past this. But if we were to do this hypothetical situation in which Hillary becomes president because of the casting process through the Electoral College, that's going to be a dangerous situation for all of us. I've come to grips with this in my head about Trump. Let him be the voice of the people that are the forgotten. I will go with that. What I will not go with is the problems that are already popping up because Trump has been elected. And it's the fear that's coming up in which we have problems with immigration. We're going to have problems with the gay community. We'll have problems with Medicare. We're going to have a lot of situations in which, even though people are protesting right now, their frustration about the whole process, that's fine. But I would rather save that energy. Because when that situation comes up and we go backwards, I don't want to see us be divided, but I won't stand by either, because then the line has crossed. If it's about economy, fine, Trump, go do your job. Get them the jobs that you said you would do. But if it's going to be rolling back rights that we've secured, that will not happen. We look towards deportation, that will not happen. Having the right for a woman to choose, I will not let that happen. There will be, and I hate to say this, lines in the sand, but you cannot cross that. I will deal with you for the next 4 years, but when it comes to issues that are close to me and close to many other people, that's when we have to take a stand. Civically, take a stand. I'm not talking about anarchy. I'm just talking about doing things civically. That is our duty and that is our right. Now, when I look at the situation about an outsider becoming president, there is no better outsider than Lex Luthor, who did eventually become president. Twice, or actually 3 times, because there was the Red Sun. There's another one in the comics I'm blanking on, but the one that I'm thinking in my head is the one from Justice League, in which Luthor was finally killed by Superman because he just had enough. And all the people that get upset that Superman does not kill, he does, but there's a justification for that. Now, I've also been reading Injustice, Gods Among Us, in which, if you haven't read it, Superman kills the Joker, and that's a whole other issue. But the one thing that I think about when thinking about Lex is that there was in the All-Star Superman series, he talks about seeing the world differently now because he has kind of powers of Superman. So I'm going to play a brief clip of that, and this is how I want to feel that Trump will get once he's in office.
Welcome to the new world. Lay down your weapons and you won't be hurt. I'll be moving into the White House later today. I'll make my formal declaration then.
Ooh. Can we have a show trial before we put these traitors to death? Are you okay?
Better than okay. I can see the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And those must be atoms. Little clouds of possibility. Einstein couldn't connect the gravitational force to the other 3. But if he could have seen this, it's so obvious.
Uncle Lex?
The fundamental forces are yoked by consciousness. Everything's connected. Every one. And this is how he sees things all the time. Every day.
I don't know if I should be worried or mortified.
It's a cruel joke. The mechanistic clockwork of reality hinging on a precious, impossible defiance of entropy, on life. And the clockwork doesn't care. It's like it's all just us in here together. We're all we've got.
You are embarrassing me beyond therapy.
You'll have to forgive him, Nostalthia. He just figured out how everything works.
Gravity warps time. Superman trapped me in a relativistic conundrum.
He's trying to say his 24 hours of superpowers just ran out.
But it's only been a couple of hours.
Relative to us, the gravity gun sped up his clock a little.
You think I didn't make more of it?
Looking for this?
Give it back! I saw everything. I saw how to save the world. I could have made everyone see. If it wasn't for you, I could have saved the world.
If it had mattered to you, Luthor, you could have saved the world years ago.
You're right.
So, looking at that episode and hearing those words, during the debates, Trump had mentioned that because of all the tax loopholes that he's done, that he blamed Hillary Clinton for not doing anything about the taxes. That she's always had the power to change them, but never did. So with Trump, all these years that he's been looking to become or running for office, he could have always done anything. He could have helped people a lot more than rather than wait until he becomes president. So on some parallel, I saw Lex and Trump being on the exact same level. But I do hope, just like when it was reported that when he got into meet with President Obama, it seemed like he was a bit overwhelmed because of everything that he has to do. I want him to understand that he has to take this situation, this becoming the president, for all of us to be done seriously. But the minute things go wrong, I'm not going to cast blame, because being president is going to be difficult. But like I said, you do your thing, do it right. Do right by people. But when you start advocating like stop and frisk, or rolling back, like I said, rights for others, then we have a problem. So, next week is going to be Thanksgiving. And I want to take the time to thank all of you, my friends, my family. A special thanks to my co-worker, Mr. Gene. Co-host, Mr. Gene. 2016 has been a sucky year. But it will get better as long as we are all together, standing united, not divided. Alright, so thank you for listening to the Monster Sci-Fi Show. Sci-fi from a certain point of view. Good night.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek, classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.